Hello, everyone. Hello. And welcome to Impromptu. I'm Tony Sawyer. This is my husband, Clifton Sawyer.
Hello out there.
And my sidekick, co-host, Norman Armstrong.
Hello, everybody.
Brother J.W. Armstrong.
Yes,
We're
GW.
here.
GW stands. I ain't gonna say what G stands for.
I said J.W.
Oh, J.
J.W. What, it's an E.W.? Is it E.W.?
G. I thought you said G.
Is it really G.W.?
No. I said I'm gonna say GW and I'm gonna tell you what G stands for.
Well, Connie is the early bird. I'm about to spit out my cough drop. Connie, I'm glad you're here. You're the early bird.
Okay.
Glad you made it today. Keely, hey Keely. And John, you didn't miss not one thing. He said he's sorry missed Tuesday night. John, we canceled Tuesday night, and I don't know if I have your email. I need your email.
Miss Gwen on that.
Hey, Lady Gwen. I hear you out of town.
Miss Connie.
But we were canceled on Tuesday night, John, because Pastor Sawyer had symptoms. We're not sure yet if it was COVID. He's about out of the woods now. That's why he's sitting in on the session today. If you see him get up and run out, it's because he's blowing and coughing and all of that stuff still.
I'm gonna tell you, you can't play with this stuff. It's real.
It's very real. It's very real.
Last week and a half ago, I was fighting something. Don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Well, you've had more evidence of it because when we were down there the last time, we were with people who didn't have anything, and you told us, and we found out it to be true that some of your close relatives, friends, have had it. And the guy was with us in the van, and his family, they had it.
The last time we were there, that's right. That family,
that family. And I mean, these people must be. They always say they must have their head in the ground and their butt hanging out because this. I ain't gonna take the shot. I ain't gonna take the. I'm going to leave the job because I don't want to take the shot.
Well, our title is very, very
crazy.
Our title is right on point.
Very appropriate for the time.
Yes, it is, because we are living in an atmosphere of change. There is no doubt about that. No doubt about it. But we did miss you guys. We missed you guys too on Tuesday. It felt kind of funny not being able to come on and talk to you guys, but I was playing nurse and he was really in the weeds at that time.
I just now got to the place where I could sleep because I've been standing up 2 or 3 nights. I had to sit up in a chair. I couldn't lay down. I wouldn't stay.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you what's the truth. If it is we don't know yet. We may know today or tomorrow.
Yeah. Takes so long.
I'm still not out of the woods, and I'm not saying that as a bad way of saying. I'm just saying there's some things that you have to move with common sense, and I have to stay in. I've been in for the last 3 or 4 days, and I'm going to stay in until it's over. And then when I go out, I ain't going out like Superman. I'm going out like somebody knows what's going on. And it takes some people the experience of this to wake up. And sometimes the waking up does not give you a chance to come back and testify. So I don't take a chance.
Good afternoon, Marlon. I'm glad you're here with us too. And Lady Gwen says that they're ZY. Who is ZY?
And then she spelled it Zaire. Is our grandson. Yeah, Zaire. He's our grandson.
And where is she right now? She's
in Columbia with Tam.
And you're home alone.
I'm home alone. I'm having a party and all.
Wow.
A house party later on. Now I'm just kidding.
One of the most important things about that this bug virus, whatever it is, if you can rest the minute you sense it, be in a mode of rest and isolate yourself and be relaxed, and don't allow the the fear of dying to take over.
Yes, don't panic.
But you must be ready for and open for anything.
And I think that those of us, and we're not going to talk about this the whole session, but I think that being healthy as possible and taking the supplements that you need to take prior to, kind of helps you, because I haven't yet had any symptoms, thank God, but that doesn't mean I won't. But we've been taking the D3, the zinc, the vitamin C, all of those things, and then someone came by yesterday, brought us elderberry and honey. So so there's things out there that you can do to at least make it not as hard on you if you do get it. So that's the thing. If you practice those things, eating healthy as much as possible. Anyway, let's move on.
Go ahead.
Move on. Hey, Israel and Vincent. Hello, Vincent.
Good to see you guys. I feel so much better.
Yes, you do. I'm so glad too. Couple of days ago, sitting in my bedroom, just having a quiet time in my little sitting area there, I was contemplating how he watches a lot of near-death experience YouTube videos. I think he's really intrigued by that. He's spoken for the North Carolina chapter here for the near-death experience at Seattle Lines organization. And we've spent some time with those people who've had near-death experiences, and they have chapter meetings where they come together and someone tells their whole story about what happened to them when they crossed over. So having a lot of that exposure, a lot of times I question when I've heard that majority of them, with the exception of a few, most, I say 99.99% of them come back to their bodies saying that they had never experienced such love. That when they encountered God, whether they encountered God as a being or as a light or as just simply an emotion, they came back saying that there was such love that they could not even describe it. And so I began to wonder, we talk a lot about unconditional love and loving unconditionally and being loving. And I've even heard, there's a friend of ours that we talked to. She said, I just want a loving relationship. So I began to question, what we say God is love. What is this? I want to
give you a few words that really explain what you're saying.
Okay.
It's called the splendor. It's called seeing the splendor of perfection.
Oh, I like that.
I like that too.
I wrote that on my notes here.
Yes.
The splendor.
Yes, the splendor
of perfection. Now, here's way splendor perfection works. In forgiveness, you see through everybody that you would normally see as needing something or in a bad place or need to get saved, need to know the Lord. You no longer go through that process, but you enter in to perfection, splendor of perfection, forgiveness, in the way you look at them. That's not denial.
Right.
It is fact. There's a difference between facts and lunacy.
Okay. But I was and you're so right.
Excuse me for a minute.
Yeah, you got to clear out a little bit. So in my contemplation, I came to a point where I began to say, when we say God is love, most of us attached to that word love, we've got all these different concepts. So in my concept of love at the time, it's no longer that. My concept of love has been, over the years, if I could picture it and describe it, someone who's affectionate, someone who's kind, someone who's nice, someone who's always fair, someone who would sacrifice for me, someone would always be there and support me. I had all of these different adjectives or ways of saying this was a loving person. So when we said God is love, that's where my mind went. God being that kind of person. And in my contemplation, I had an awakening because I realized, I said, what is it that made them feel the way they felt when they encountered the love that God is? Not the love of God, but the love that God is. And
here's another one for you. Let me cut you off, but I want you to help you through it. It is the expanded form of seeing and saying beyond everyday seeing. Expanded knowing, saying, and feeling, hearing, and knowledge or knowing again. The true way of looking and seeing yourself.
That's it. The true way of seeing. And then I began to realize after contemplating it that what they encountered when they encountered God, however they encountered God, whatever form it appeared in or didn't appear in, they encountered absolute neutrality. God is absolutely neutral. That means, and I wrote it down, God has no agenda. Okay? Absolute acceptance of that person without any urge to change them, without any wish that they were different. Absolute full acceptance of them. No alterations of them have to be. For that neutrality is so neutral. It harbors no resentment. It doesn't remember anything that person may have done or not done. It's just neutral. So they felt absolutely accepted, and we've never felt that in this realm. None of us,
right?
Because we haven't had anyone to love us that way.
You have come, and this is what we say, to a place where you sing and you see conditional versus unconditional.
Yes,
exactly.
Now they go over and they come back unconditional. The key to conditional is false.
Yes.
The conditional is false. I need to say this to Lady Gwen. Your daughter in Georgia is still in recovery. You said this. Sit down. She needs to sit down and be still because 9 days is not enough. And if she wants to take a chance on it, she's going to put her life of condition in a place where she will or probably may regret leaving out too soon.
Okay.
Stop and evaluate.
Slow down.
It's no rush. You're not going to miss anything. Stop using fantasies and what we call the word and faith and all that. Be realistic. Go by facts. You know that you need to stop and take notice to what you're doing. It's no rush. The ego is rushing, and that ego is not real. So just cool your heels.
Yes, something wants to get out quicker. But yes, thank you for giving her that. That's just word tips that he's he's learned while being in the
3 days. I've learned that.
Wisdom keys.
Yes, and Sinette's yes, he's feeling much better. Sinette, thank you, darling, for sending the living healing energy. And Oliver, thank you, Oliver. You're on here today. Thank you. And everybody's saying that you're glad you're back. So the love that I was speaking of, I know now that what love is neutrality. It's being absolutely neutral toward the other. And so I wrote this down because I wanted to make sure I remembered all that I had seen. But love has no expectation, no forced plan. It might have a plan, but it's not a forced plan.
Not a conditional plan.
Yes. And as I said, it harbors no resentment, and it only desires one thing, and that is to be one with.
Exactly.
You know, being around music, she taught me how to listen to the music and catch the break when you can do a fill in.
Yes, the pause.
And that's when you do your little thing. But you got to be fast enough to do it so it will not clash with the other instruments.
Yes.
That's the way we walk. That's the walk of the spirit.
Yes.
A Selah. A Selah.
Exactly.
In the book of Psalms, which is a book of hymns and songs. That's what a lot of people don't understand. that's a when they talk about psalmists, that's a musical book. And so when they see the word Selah, that is a break, a pause within the chorus or the hymn and so forth. And we know it means to pause and ponder and so forth. So that's what it is all about.
You know, Solomon's temple was built on that Selah.
Exactly.
He was, yeah.
Without
No
sound.
sound.
No
No
sound.
sound. No sound.
But he had a covenant with the dark world.
They had to work for him.
To work for him to build that place without sound.
It was like nanites.
Nanites.
But anyway.
Oh, yes, yes.
Before y'all get off back on
the
Marvel and all of that, let me finish this thing about love, and then you guys can take off. But I wanted to make sure I brought this forth because my concept of love was totally erroneous. Most of my concept was all about affection. While I know affection is born out of love, that is not what love is. So love can never
go ahead.
Love can never be disappointed.
Uh-huh.
It can't be disappointed. It releases you from any obligation, and it desires your freedom. It doesn't grasp, it doesn't pull toward, it doesn't hold, it releases. And love is, and I wrote this down, love is not affection, but neutrality engenders affection, is genuinely affected by the presence of the other.
Jesus' perfection in knowing himself and as the Father, one, is what caused the woman to touch the hem of his garment. In her imperfection, she saw perfection in him in herself. So what you're experiencing now, listen to this. You can be imperfect, perfection. That's called being perfect without a judgment on yourself.
And the thing is, love doesn't see any imperfections.
Now we look at ourselves.
Even imperfection that we see is considered. And it has no opinion of perfect or imperfect.
And you know, I'm looking at you and I'm seeing at me, and I'm seeing unconditional. All right. It ain't right or wrong. Yeah. Okay.
But can you
look at this?
Can you imagine accepting another person that way?
Ooh, that's
what that would do.
Awesome.
That's what the near-deathers have been experiencing when they cross over and they encounter this absolute neutrality that God has and God is, which is what love is.
It opens the channel for you when you're unconditional.
Because they encounter the unconditional world or the unconditional realm. And so it's funny that you brought this up because I've been doing a series on entitled The Revelation of Love, because we have the wrong concept of what love really is. And so the word unconditional, Bishop mentioned it over and over again. And we have been conditioned in this realm that love comes with stipulations and conditions. If you do this, if you do that, or like you said, Mom, concerning manipulating, controlling. What we don't understand when we say God is love, he is the very embodiment and expression of what we should be walking in. That's why his greatest commandment, when they was asking Jesus about commandments, he said the greatest commandment is you love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. And then the second is unto it, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So the question is here, if one don't love himself, it's hard for him to express the type of love we're talking about, the true love.
Now, and it's important when we say love ourselves. And see, I'm going back to what I discovered. To love myself is not to be kind to myself. It's not to think of myself more highly. It's not to put myself in a position feeling that I'm better than everyone else.
Exactly.
It's to care for myself. It's none of that. All of that, those are just concepts again. What loving myself is being neutral even with myself.
Right. That's what I was getting ready to say. when one person loves themselves, we don't hold ourselves to certain stipulation or expectations either. And
Exactly.
see, that's what we've been conditioned to hold ourselves because of the environments that we came in. There were always stipulations and expectations. Like, for example, when a young man back in the day, when we was coming up, when a young man is about to graduate from high school and go out into the world, whoever the male role model, whether it be father or grandfather, they would say to that young man, all right, now, you must understand something. When you leave here, you carrying my name. Don't go out there
Mm-hmm.
and mess up my name. See,
Mm-hmm.
you putting stipulations and conditions and expectations on them. That is not the expression of love. And so,
Right.
in the research that I've been doing again on the revelation of love, that is the thing that I've discovered as well. When you truly love someone, you love them in spite of this. There's no conditions, there's no strings, there's no, because if we got strings and so forth, and I use the analogy of strings, you're really looking to control or manipulate that person like a puppet.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to appreciate them unless they do something that you expect them to do. And so when I do
Mhm.
maximize marriage counseling with married couples, I bring them to that place of understanding. In marriage, there's two type of love, that classifications of love in marriage. The first one is romantic love. That is the love that brings them together. They find in one another irresistible.
Passion. It's
Right.
passion.
Right. It's the Greek word eros. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And so then once they make the decision to come together in holy matrimony, because I'm gonna go somewhere with else later on with that, when they come together in holy matrimony, eros is not the type of love that keep them together. It's not the glue. All right. It's that caring love, that
Mm-hmm.
caring love that I share with them, that that's when I'm going to do whatever I have to do by any means necessary to make sure that I'm trying to keep you happy. In essence, I become selfless, all right,
Mm-hmm.
unselfish. And so lo and behold, even that is not the higher level. The higher level of love is becoming one.
Mm-hmm.
You can never enter into a place of oneness if you enter into a relationship or coming together, holding one another with these expectations and stipulations and conditions. As soon as I don't mount up to what you expected,
Mhm.
now you want to say you fell out of love with me. But the truth of the matter is, there's no such thing of falling out of love. It's
Okay.
because we've been
Let-
taught.
let- and all of that is so true. But I'm beginning to realize there are no grades to love.
Exactly.
We've given those terms, and we've used those terms of eros, and what was the other one you said? And I know
Oh, the
agape.
three Greek words for love that they use
Filio.
is filio, eros, and
Yeah,
agape, which is the
right,
unconditional love.
right.
Right.
So what I've come to realize is this, Norman, is that there are no grades to love. What eros and filio is concepts that we have about love. And when people come together in like you said, in the passion and the eros, they come together because there's some commonality. Sometimes it's a common bond because both of them have had pain, and they
Association.
come together to soothe each other's pain, or
Exactly.
both of them have the same interest, or it
You
could be
reading my notes.
or it could be just they have this chemistry, and they feel this, they so horny, and so they want to come together. That's just the reality of it. So all of those things are not, that's not love. Those
That's
are
not
just
love.
things, that's stuff you get into before the love actually happens. The love comes when the couple has been together, they've seen every bad thing about them, and they know every bad thing about them, and yet they still want to be together.
Exactly.
That's what love is, because then they learn to be neutral. I suspend my opinions, I suspend my judgments, I
Exactly.
suspend my expectations, in order, because love only wants to be one with.
Exactly. And that's and I love how you said that, because the true essence of love brings a sense of freedom. You're willing to allow
Always,
that person to be free, to
always.
to to go on a journey and discover themselves. You know,
Yeah.
again, in the Christian circle, we use the scripture, love covers a multitude of sins, where I look at it this way. If I mess up, if I make a mistake according to your ideology, you still supposed to want to be one with me. You still
Oh,
want
yeah.
to be
If,
there
if
no
you-
matter what.
if it's real love, you will want to be one with. That's the
Exactly.
point. Mm-hmm.
Now,
Exactly.
here's the price. Here's the price. The price of this is, can you handle the truth? Now, the truth is,
I love that.
when you said holy matrimony, that means matrimony with a hole in it.
I'm talking about the word holy, HOLY, that means dedicated.
Excuse me.
I ain't talking about the other hole.
But you still, the whole is the condition.
Mm-hmm.
But you notice holy is still there with a hole in it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we coming to a place where we are beginning to understand, Pastor, and all you guys out there, everything, 99.9% of what we've heard in church is holiness with a hole in it. Because listen, if we look at the eternal parts of everybody in the street, whether they accept Jesus or not, we're going to use the bypass system of the principle of praying in tongues. If I pray in tongues, my mind is unfruitful. If I'm going to walk the Spirit or walk in my true identity, I'm going to have to walk in my true identity
My true Bicky
I'm going to walk in my true identity, looking at other people in their true identity without them knowing who they are. That does not mean you walk around with your head in the ground and your butt hanging out. It means that you have decided to transcend Satan, demons, and deliverance into beingness of everybody. That's the only way. Remember I said the other day, hell got a back door. Yeah. You can, when you go into unconditional, that's not even a back door in hell, because it doesn't exist.
Right. So the back door to hell is when is the waking up to the illusion that hell is, and knowing that hell is not even real, that you don't even have to be there. And I just wanted to, so
it's an extreme if you do go.
Exactly. And what did I read to you before we started? I read this in this book. It said, when you look at the world from wholeness, the world will change.
That's holiness.
The world will change in you.
Exactly.
You are the world.
Exactly.
So now this is the other part that I wanted to mention about love, and you're getting hot.
Yeah, one of the things I did find out about this book is you have to sweat.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So go ahead and sweat. But anyway, one of the other things that I've realized about when we say God is love, a lot of times some people have an aversion to that for one reason. They feel like we're saying everything's all mushy and everything's okay, and we're endorsing everything, and that's not what we're saying, and it's not what it means when we say God is love. What we're actually saying is that God is not he's not locked and confined in your concept of what love is.
Okay.
Our concept of love is mostly about affection.
It's not conceptualized love.
Right. It's not conceptual at all. It's mostly about God treating me a certain way, or the person treating me a certain way. That's our concept of what love is. So when we say God is love, we think that means God is going to treat me a certain way.
You're right.
That has nothing to do with what love really is, because love is absolutely neutral. It has no opinion of you.
You learn how to ride on the Karaba.
Yes.
That means you've learned how to ride on the vessel of God that is always seeing. I use the word the best in everything, but it's beyond that.
So even if I don't know how to live and be love living, I like that, be love living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I don't know how to do
I
that,
need to put that in the comment section. Be
yeah,
love,
be love living. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
y'all
love
type that
living.
in. That's
I
a good
love
one. That's
that.
a good one.
Be
Love
love.
living.
But even if I don't know how to be love living,
Mm-hmm.
in order for me
Ooh,
to love
ooh.
myself, I've got to come to that same neutrality
Ooh.
about myself.
Ooh, that's strong.
And so this is the other thing that I discovered. Uh we're like a blank canvas, if you
Yes.
say awareness, or some of the sages and teachers call us a blank movie screen
Mm-hmm.
that the movie plays on.
Mm-hmm.
We're a blank canvas that somebody's painting all of these experiences on. If
Mhm.
I can see myself not as the experiences that's being painted on me as awareness, and see myself as that blank canvas, I'm then neutral.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
am then neutral. I am not the experiences that present themselves to me. I am not even the feelings of this experience that I'm feeling, this feeling that I'm experiencing. I'm not that. So if I can bring my identification to the neutral blank canvas that I am, the awareness where everything appears on me and in me, but
Mhm.
it is not me.
Years ago, we run across the terminology, not look at, but see through.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Now, that don't mean that you walk around with your head in the ground, like we've said. Here's the key. You have always been perfected, but when we came into this dimension as the dream, the story, we set the course up, the, the speed bumps up for the greatest, strongest challenges that we could afford to get in this
Oh,
world.
you brought something else
Okay,
up.
go ahead.
We set up our own sacred contract for what we would deal with and go through in this life.
Mhm.
But what we set up was a contract of how we were going to live out the dream.
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
none of it is real.
It's none of it, none of it is real.
None
And
of it
funny,
is real.
it's
Mhm,
funny
mhm,
that you said that, because in my teaching on last night on our broadcast, I mentioned concerning, because I'm on, I've been talking about believe, only believe. And so I had shared with everyone, because and I want to read it real quick. It struck me concerning Hebrews chapter 11, which we know it deals with faith. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But what caught my attention was verse 3. It said, through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, or the expression of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
To
And
appear.
so the
That's
things
what we mean. Hold it. I want you to finish that, because that's going to be really, really good. But I wanted to say this. That's what we mean when we say this is an illusion or this is a dream.
exactly,
We're not saying that it's not real. We're simply
exactly
saying it's not what it appears to be.
right.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
What we are encountering and experiencing is the imagination of someone or something else. And
Mhm.
so for my attempt to try to help them understand that, I said, now again, that it says things which are seen were not made of things that do not
That, up,
appear.
that
So I
appears.
gave this example on last night. I said, for example, I don't know what you envision. I don't know what's on your mind, or what you imagine. All right, what's in your imagination right now. So I use it. I said, what if you are imagining or envisioning a 7-bedroom, 5-bathroom house? I
Mm-hmm.
would never see that, never know anybody, not even encounter it until you express what's on your mind to me. So now, as you express concerning what's on your mind or in your imagination, now I am beginning to visualize
Mm-hmm.
or encounter or experiencing what's on your mind. And so
Yes.
it's the same thing with God Himself. He imagined all of this comes from the
Yeah.
origin in His mind, and He expressed it, which caused it to become our reality.
And you're so right. Before we existed, we lived in God's head
Yes,
as a thought.
as a thought. T H O
And
U
we
G H
and
T.
we
Not the
never
other,
left there. We
not the
never
other
left
head.
there. We have never left there. This is all the
Never.
imaginings of God. We are actually in the mind of God.
Hmm.
All of this that's
Exactly.
happening is happening in God's head. If God has a head,
It's
it's happening.
it's his story. This is not
Yes,
even our story. It's his story.
and that's us before we had a face.
Hmm. Exactly. And the thing about the blank canvas, when you were speaking of that, everything in me started jumping because it's funny now. Of course, I'm a grandfather now. All right. As a father, when Chris and Shannon and they were babies and stuff, I never paid that much attention to them being observers. I never paid any attention to that back then. Is at this stage in life, after I experienced so much, that when I'm with my grands, I'm watching them observe,
Yes,
literally watching your every movement as you're playing with them, talking to them. They're looking at you and they're literally trying to emulate what you're expressing or what you're doing. And so I see where their mind is blank. And so we the ones that's now painting on the canvas of their mind.
exactly,
Here's the
exactly.
key. There was a time when you were there with us in the brick and mortar, and some of the others on now. In my classes, I would teach you how to see in the spirit.
I remember that.
You remember
Yes.
that? Okay, it's
Mhm.
very easy and simple. The mystical guys, or not the mystical guys, the guys who are somewhat among us, or those that seem like they have arrived and got a revelation
You're
of
talking about the
something,
prophetic
the
camp.
prophetic camp.
Mhm.
I talk to my dog. I communicate with her unconditional on frequencies, knowing that I'm speaking. I can speak German, Italian, or whatever you want to call it, French. It's dogs and animals can catch you. Here's
They
what
catch your
I
energy.
didn't
Yes.
know that I was teaching, and that we're doing it now. I would tell her, and I told her just recently on the bed, and I remember my wife heard it or not. I said to her, I said, look, I look her in the eye, and she'll look at you right in the face, and we don't won't bat intimidated or not. I told her, I said, I look forward to seeing you in heaven, and I want you to walk up to me and tell me that you remember me from being here in the story in the earth dimension. I said, you are a gift that was given to us, and I'm speaking to spirit. The
Mhm.
spirit I'm talking to, and that dog. I'm talking to my spirit self,
The essence.
the
The
essence.
essence. Yeah.
And she looks at me, and when I taught her how that when she knows that I'm talking to her, do this,
And she does it.
and she'll
She
bat her
does it.
eye. It's like you standing
When
over
she
a person.
understands you, she'll
Yeah.
blink.
And I've been teaching her how to do some dogs. I taught her how to use one eye. And when you're standing over a person that's in a coma, they want you to talk a certain way. And the reason why, here's the punch. Spirit never die nor sleep, the transcend, wake up, go to sleep,
Mhm,
live, die,
mhm, mhm,
live long or short.
mhm,
Long term or short term memory does not exist in spirit. Stand in front of a tree, and I have one out there now that I'm talking to, and look at spirit in the tree. It is the life essence. When you cut a tree, the sap on a certain tree will run. That's your life essence running through that tree.
mhm.
Now we understand what it means to see in the spirit.
You brought up something there that while he was going through the really heavy part of what he'd been dealing with the last few days, uh, he and I talked just a little bit, and we realized if you are awareness in that blank canvas, that blank slate, you even if your body is sick, like we were talking about his lungs, I said, are you getting congested? And he said, I don't
Mm-mm,
think so.
mm-mm,
And so I said,
no.
well, as that you really are doesn't even have lungs.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
That you really are doesn't have lungs, so it can't be congested. So it's bringing you back to who you truly are, that helps you to get through what these bodies are experiencing.
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing when Bishop was talking about speaking to baby girl and speaking to the tree. We all have to remember this. We all are pure energy. So
Exactly. Yeah.
because we all are pure energy,
It's
we
called
can
the pure self.
communicate. There you go. We could communicate to any and everything. Just like I shared earlier about what I shared on my broadcast last night, concerning once again images, and I made the statement concerning the house with 7 bedrooms and 5 bed. Do you not know that on today, a good friend of mine, real close friend of mine, who's a pastor as well, he lives out of state. He wanted to try to give me a call, so he changed his to a new phone. He got an Apple phone now, and he had to reach out to my son because I don't really do Facebook and Messenger and stuff like that to get my number, because he had this dream about me. And
Mm.
when he shared the dream, I literally, everything in me had to jump, because he said in the dream, I came to him and said, "You'll never guess what had happened." Just to give the short
Mhm.
version of it, he said, "I said to him, someone just bought me a home." Now,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
he didn't see the broadcast yesterday, and I'm using the analogy as an example of
Mm-hmm.
me, that I would never know what's on on the unseen realm until you express it to me. Now I can visualize. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And so when he said that, and he mentioned that, I said, "Now, you didn't watch my broadcast on last night?" He said, "No." I said, "Everything that you're saying right now to me, the dream and what your interpretation of, I just said last night." So
Mm-hmm.
once I release that thought into the universe, there is going to be another person that will be open to that thought, because energy is never lost, it is transmitted.
Yeah.
Someone will eventually tune into that frequency, and they will begin to have
Mm.
experienced the same thought as well.
And see, this is the reality of it, which is it's like it's so simple now
Mm-hmm.
to
Easy.
manifest anything. If you're that blank canvas, you can paint whatever you want on it.
Exactly.
You paint it, and if you hold that vision of what's painted long enough till it solidifies, you got the manifestation of it.
You go to the theater,
It's
you look at a
just that
movie.
simple. It's just that simple.
Really? You go to a theater and you look at that screen. You're not looking at the screen, you're looking at what's on the screen. But
Exactly.
you have
Mhm.
no judgment and condition about what you see on the screen,
Mhm.
except you do enter in a little bit too much when you get out of your seat and get into them cars that's about to crash and
You
you driving for
forget
them.
that it's
You
just a
forget
movie.
the
Perfection. That's
forget
good.
projector, you forget
Hmm.
the light beams, you forget the fabric of the theater, you forget everything. That may be a little consciousness that you're sitting in a chair, but they got these chairs now in the theater where you can sit there and feel like you're in a Rolls Royce. But
Mhm.
now you're
Yeah.
still projecting.
The last time we went to a movie, I don't know if it was last time, but we went to one of those movies that had the Dolby surround, or whatever you
Oh,
call that,
yes,
cinema
yes.
surround. And oh my God, we about had a hissy in there. I couldn't take it. I said, I'll never go another one of those kind of movies.
Oh, I
It'll pull
love
you
Ever.
those.
right in it. It'll pull
I
you
was
into it.
I was
I
like,
love those. That Dolby
no,
surround sound.
no.
Yes.
And we
Mm-mm-mm.
use that.
Yes,
We
yes,
It,
use
yes.
that all the time.
you
We're doing
not
it now.
you not
Let me
only
let me
hear it,
let me
you not only hear it, you feel it as
yeah,
That's
well.
right.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
I want
right.
to bring a couple of these comments in, because they've been really commenting since we've been talking, and we hadn't really paid attention to their comments. But Buzz says this. Hey, Buzz, he says, we're looking at the world through our limited perception. It's not truth. Our own limited perception is not truth or the absolute. It's impermanent. That's my understanding of the word illusion. Yes, and it's
Did.
just that it is not what it appears to be.
Hmm.
It's all, and then Oliver says this is all a projection playing out on that blank canvas. Exactly.
Hmm.
And then Keely, hey Keely, she says everything in this world is connected to everything else.
They talk. Oh,
Anything,
yeah, I'm sorry.
anything we believe, think, do, or say affects the world and universe around us. We are all one. And that's the other thing that I realized in my contemplation about neutrality is that neutrality, that one that is neutral doesn't look at this one and compare it to the other. It's never it never compares one to the other and say this is better than that or this is less than that. That is not in the language of love. And I said this to sweetheart, yes, I think it was yesterday, that God doesn't have the word forgiveness in his vocabulary. And I tell you why. We've been teaching it. We've been saying that God forgives you and you must forgive and you must forgive others and all of this, da 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 da. But if you're absolutely neutral with no expectations and harboring no resentment, you never got offended.
Never.
So if love doesn't have the ability to be offended, it doesn't have the tool of forgiveness.
Exactly.
So to be love living is to come to the place not where I forgive everything, but to be love living is to come to the place where I'm never offended by anything.
Never offended.
Here's a good one for you. Help that comes and is here should not be coming and going. Help that's here should not, help that's here or help that come and is here should not be coming and going. Help that is here. That is here. It is already here. Should not be coming and going. That means if you are aware, or if you're not aware of the presence of God, you are still the presence of God, not coming or going.
Yes. So
unconditional.
Why God answers our prayers is this. It's not because God feels this urge or urgency that we have and panics along with us. And it's not because God feels like I just want to bless my baby. No, it's not that. God answers our prayers and does things to help us, like you saying, help is here and doesn't come and go. God answers our prayers and helps us because God sees us as himself.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know why it's and again, because everybody's not at that place of awakening, but for the sake of understanding, I don't even understand. Even like as I was teaching last time concerning believing, I went right back to St. John chapter 10, where Jesus made a statement again. Why do you want to stone me? Why are you so offended by what I'm doing? And they weren't offended. And remember, they weren't offended by the miracles and stuff that he was performing, the work that he was doing. They was offended by what he said. They said, you being a mere man, make yourself equal with God. That's what offended them. And so now they're upset. And then he says to them, he says, well, again, I am my Father one. And is it not said in your law? And what I love about it, he said that I said, which means way before, I said, ye are gods.
Yes.
Hey, listen to this. I'm gonna shock you with this one. And I'm not trying to say the most shockable thing. First of all, the ego and offenses and grudges are not real. Okay, let's go for it. Let's for it. Now, I can say this. I don't want you to say it.
Okay.
Because you may not be ready to say what I'm saying.
We may not be ready to say it.
I am not interested in asking God or telling God what to do. I can, and I do it. I used to tell the guys, I said, there's only one woman in this world that can tell me to kiss her tail, and I'll do it. I'm putting this slide right now.
No, you didn't didn't say
I
that.
have told you that.
I said you didn't say that on this live stream.
Oh no, but I'm saying it now. I've told you.
Oh my Lord.
And listen to this. When God wanted Moses to understand the mystical side of himself without offenses, he said, Moses, I can't let you see my face right now, but see, I'll let you see my butt, my hinder parts.
Hinder parts. Yeah.
So God's butt got more power in it than any butt in the universe.
Well, you know, and that
and you can tell him anything you want to. Tell God to kiss your butt, he'll kiss it.
Oh
yeah, but even okay, like for example, and I want to use Bishop for an example.
Uh-oh.
Now, if I was not at this particular stage of my awakening, and I'm gonna help somebody understand.
Well, you hit it.
And I was still yet, I'm gonna use the word Pharisaic, very religious minded.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I would have been very offended by what he said. Because we would use the word offense. You know, back in the day, you know, I'm just speaking on behalf of the religious community. We have been so very offended. I can't believe he got up there and said what he said. Even when you said, "Mom, did you really just say that on this broadcast?" But I'm, because of the place I am in my awakening and my evolution. Because that's
your place, the place in neutrality.
Exactly. I'm not offended by none of that.
And you're not offended when you're neutral. You're really not offended. When you take no position, you don't have any offenses.
Exactly.
And Gwen just said, Father.
Yeah, Gwen said, oh, Father.
And so
yes, I agree with you, Gwen. I agree.
And again, it goes back to conditioning, and we have been conditioned to think a certain way. We have been conditioned to either accept this or reject that. We have been conditioned, which means, in all honesty, we're not being what you said, love living. We're not being love living. And so that's why it's been so difficult for us to love, because we're trying to love rather than be loved.
There you go. We're not being love living because we're trying to be loving.
Exactly.
That's what you just said. We're trying to be loving. And that's a concept. Because we don't really know how to be loving.
Nope. And so again, I mean, it's just, if we could ever get to the place of no judgments, we've said it over and over again, no judgments, and just accept people.
Yes.
You know, everybody is at a different stage in their life. All of us is going through the journey of evolution. That's something that I've been studying and listening to. Even it's funny because y'all know me, and I'm a big movie buff and so forth.
Lord, yes.
I didn't know Eternals are now on Disney, and so while I was working out, I began to watch that again, and I caught stuff that I didn't catch the first time. And so,
see, you guys are two. So the two of y'all get all your messages and your revelations from Marvel, and and any movie you watch, you get revelations out of it, like God speaks through that movie to you. I don't know what that is.
It's funny, but because see, when I would pick up certain things, I would go and start researching, and so. Like I was telling the people again, and y'all heard me say it over and over and over, God, that's not his name. That's our attempt to describe a divine deity or whatever and so forth and so on. So what I did right after, because I was working out watching it at the same time, I went and I just Googled the name God. And of course, you're going to get the Wikipedia concerning that. And I began to research that whole thing. And so the thing is, every nationality, every people, everywhere, everyone use in their own language that terminology of God in their attempt to describe a being higher than themselves.
Yes.
Hey, Pastor.
Now he's winding down. I can tell his energy's kind of dropped a little.
Now that's
So
prophetic in
if you
itself.
need,
That's enlightenment.
if you need to remove
Yeah,
yourself, you can.
She's trying to save what I'm going to say.
No, I'm not.
That was very
I just
insightful. That was very insightful for you to say
Yeah.
that you're noticing his energy.
Energy has
See,
dropped.
that's if we could ever get to the place where we could connect with one another through who we really are, the essence of energy, that we will not even have to communicate or articulate anything. We can sense. That goes to the place of telepathy, because that was the other thing that came up in the dream that the guy said to me. I got to a place where I said to him, I can't tell you, but I was able to communicate without verbalizing what had just happened to me. And I said, you have no idea. Everything in me right now is jumping because you have no idea what I've been experiencing in the journey that I've been on. And what you just had in a dream, you just communicated back to me everything that I've been experiencing.
Yeah. Well, see, we're in the Matrix, so that's why.
And see, it's funny that you said that, because I found something very common in the movie The Matrix and the movie The Eternals.
Yeah,
they all talk about energy.
You know,
about energy.
You know, there is a book, a spiritual book about the Matrix.
Oh yeah, and I also have this book about the Jedi too.
Okay, Lord have mercy.
You remember Dad told me about those. Yep. And so
look, we're getting ready to sign off in a little bit because he's feeling a little down, I could tell. And he put out some energy today he hadn't been putting out in the last 3 or 4 days, so that's good. That's good. But yeah, Pastor Norman, I tell you, this is a subject we could probably go on and on and on with forever. But I wanted to just mention lastly what Israel said. He said, just love. And Vincent says, so if I love someone truly, being love living, I really can't feel any way because feelings are false, but love living is real and is not a feeling. You're going to feel. You're absolutely going to feel. That's just part of the human experience. But realizing that those feelings are happening on a blank canvas and you are not the feelings, you are that one that is aware of the feelings. So if you can remain there as that neutrality, you'll come through the feelings a lot quicker.
There is somebody out there that's in the unconditional state as we speak. I look at my mailbox and I see $1,000 every time I go to it. And here's my point. I look at it unconditional. I don't care where it comes from. I get here. It's all right with me. I don't care what kind of way you act or way you do. I still see Christ in you as you. You might get my feathers railed up. You might get my feathers out of the pillow. I have come to accept the fact that I can't, what comes out of the pillow, I can't get it back in there. So I surrender to what is. And as I surrender to what is, it opens the door for unconditional resources to reveal itself, whether it come in my hand or the mailbox. Somebody out there is releasing it now in an unconditional way.
I wanted to mention this too to Vincent. When we say we love a person, what we usually are saying, not realizing what we're saying, is that there is something about them that we're addicted to.
Exactly.
And it's like they give me a fix. And when that person no longer gives you a fix of whatever it is you're addicted to, then there's problems in the relationship. I just thought I'd throw that out there with you. So that you can know that if there's problems in your relationship, it's because some addiction is not being fed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, this is good. Good stuff.
Yeah, we done ran out of time. Wow.
I know. But we will be back. We'll be back next week. It's at 12:30. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, as they say. I enjoy these talks with you so much, Pastor Norman. I really do.
Me too.
And all and all of our friends and family coming in, Sinette and Israel and Buzz and all of you guys that's joined us today, Lady Gwen and Keely and all of you guys that joined us today. I think Laverne was even in here today, and
Yes,
Diana
she
was in
That's
here.
right.
Diane West was here. Yeah. So anyhow, we love you guys, and we'll be back to see you again on Sunday at 10. Hopefully, Pastor will be back in up and running, complete 100% by then. I'm praying and believing, and I think he will be. And we'll see you at 10 o'clock at Cornerstones Church service, and then Pastor Norman, yours is at
11 a.m.
11 a.m. We got to get your YouTube channel up and going too, man.
That's going to happen. That's definitely
Sure
going to
is.
happen.
It sure is. We got to take a day where we just do it. We just do it. But I love you, and you stay out. You stay safe and stay out of trouble while you're home alone.
I promise you, I'm not going to get in trouble.
All right, sweetheart. I'll see you later. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.